As an African who have migrated to the UAE or Dubai, do you feel accepted? This was a question I got asked by another content creator during our latest collaboration. So in today's video, I will be sharing with you the real truth from my perspective about living in UAE as an African, the challenges that comes with it, and also the opportunities that are available for us here. So let's get right into the video. There's no two ways about it. Living in UAE or Dubai as an African is super challenging. However, it is not impossible. I will be discussing some of the challenges surrounding some four major topics that I've chosen to talk about today. And this includes visa or Emirates ID, housing, accommodation, salary, and also the banking sector. The first thing I want to discuss is the visa. So I get a lot of questions. I heard UAE is no longer giving visa to Africans and they've blocked the sites and this. Yes, all that was correct. Latter part of last year, they decided to withhold giving visa to some African countries. I believe it was all African countries. However, they've opened a portal now, so they do give visa to major African countries. There are a few African countries that I know that they are not giving visa and Emirates ID to, and that will be Nigeria. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I really feel bad um, because I don't know, I just feel bad, because they are our brothers and sisters. So to have that division amongst us is sad, but to my best of my knowledge, I know they are not processing visa and Emirates IDs for Nigerians. So that is a major challenge here. If you are a Nigerian and you're living in the UAE, you would have to find your own visa. And even with that, it's super difficult for you to process your own visa. That is, you have to register a company, and then through that company, you can get your residency and work permit through that company that you have registered as a freelance. But even that is super difficult. I know a bunch of Nigerians who are trying that process and it still doesn't work. You pay the money and I mean, nothing works. So that is one of the major challenges. Sometimes they open it in between. They open the portal like a week or 2 weeks to get the visas out. So if you're not aware of that opportunity and then it goes, then you're back to not having a visa. And when it comes to other African countries, it's more of an organizational discrimination. Whereas if you're an African, they would tell you to do your own visa. They don't want to spend money on you and do the visa. They will tell you to extend your visit visa and this, which is all illegal, but they will do it anyways. And we Africans, as desperate as we are, we will, extend our own visa or try to do our own visa just so we have a job or we can survive in the country. But with other nationalities, they don't do that. You cannot tell a British person that you've employed them. You cannot tell them to go and extend their visit visa or do their own visa. They are not going to do that because by law, if you employ somebody, you have to provide them visa, and then you don't charge them for that. But as an African, it's either you have to extend your visa or do your own visa, or they even charge you for doing the visa for you. So this is some of the challenges we face when it comes to visa or Emirates ID processing in the UAE here. The second topic I want to talk about is banking. I have to share my experience on this because I was blown away. I was surprised because nobody actually told me that. Before I came to UAE, I actually did a lot of research. I asked around. So I was privy to a lot of other information. However, nobody told me about the banking sector. Nobody told me about the challenges that you're going to face as an African having to do something as simple as open a bank account. So this is what happened. First, I was thinking of, okay, which bank to use. I actually called before I had my Emirates ID to do inquiries to one of the banks. And then they told me what I needed. You need your Emirates ID, and then you need certificate of salary, which is something from your employer stating that, okay, you work with them and this is how much your salary is. And then my passport, of course. So I got all that. And then I decided to check out one bank because one of my colleagues told me that, oh, this bank has zero balance policy and you can even apply online. So you don't even need to go to the bank. So she gave me all the details. I went online, I entered everything. And then the moment I entered my Emirates ID, my nationality, and all that, the system blocked. So I was like, this is strange. And then I tried again and then it blocked. So I was like, huh, okay. I waited a couple of days, like the next day or 2 days. I tried again, blah, blah, blah. Then it gets to Emirates ID, nationality, then the system, the portal blocks again. So I decided to go to the bank myself because it wasn't working online. So I went to the bank, I showed them all my documents, and the teller at the bank, or the operator himself, he advised me actually to open the account online because online it has a zero balance policy. So the zero balance means that you don't have to, you can start, you can open the account with a zero balance, and then you don't have to keep a minimum amount in the account also. However, if I decide to open at the bank, I there should be a minimum opening balance and then a minimum balance in your account. If you go below that minimum before the end of the month, they're going to charge you a penalty. So he actually advised me to, it would be best if I open the account online. So I said, okay, where's my chain? So I said, great. I just sat outside the bank. I tried again. And then same thing. So I'm like, what is this? And then later they sent me a message that somebody is going to contact me. I'm not going to mention the name of the bank. And this was already like a week, past a week, right? When I went to the bank. So I waited for about another 3, 4 days. Then finally somebody called. And then she was like, oh, we saw that you're trying to open an account, a zero balance account, and this. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what she said. Unfortunately, we cannot give you access to the zero balance account. And I said, why not? Initially, she said, I cannot really tell you. And I said, you have to tell me. What do you mean by you cannot open the account for me? I have all the requirements. Everything you've asked of me, I do have it. So why can't you open the account for me? Because I went to the bank and they advised me that they're trying to limit people coming into the bank. So they are shifting things online. So it's best for me to do that online. So why can't you open the account for me? Basically, what she was trying to say is that because I'm African, they are not going to do that for me. But she couldn't be bold enough. That is one of the problems I have here, is that if you're going to discriminate towards somebody, just own it, own it, be bold enough, give the person the full information, and let them know what's up. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to beat around the bush like, oh, there's something in your document. That there's nothing in my document. My document is okay, is my nationality, I'm Ghanaian, I'm African, and it's not allowed, period. So I got really mad, and then I had to go back to the bank, and I was like, what is this? I got so angry. I said, any whatever you want, I have it. Whatever you require for me to open an account. And there are people whose salary is even like 3 times lower my salary, and they get the opportunity to open a zero balance account. And I'm saying I'm even willing to leave that deposit. I don't need it. Like I also need some savings in my accounts. So I'm okay to have a minimum balance or whatever requirements that you need. It's okay. So what is the problem? So the man had to go talk to his manager and this. I'm like, I'm a legit person. I have a job, I have an Emirates ID, whatever requirements you need. What is it? What do you want? Thumbprint? Like you want to come to my house and assess the place, you want to check my clothing, my perfume, you want to know all that, the kind of perfume I use or my jewelry or whatever, come and do it. And I actually told him, I said, this is really not fair. All of us Africans are not the same. Not all of us are the same. Of course, there are bad ones. There are always bad nuts in any race. But you cannot just use that because I asked him, how many Africans do you know? Like, how many Africans do you know personally? I don't even think you know like 100 of us. Do you know how many people are in Africa? So you cannot just use that few. It may seem a lot, even if they are like 500 or 1,000, it's a lot of number, but not compared to the whole of Africa. So you cannot use that very few people and judge all of us. There are good ones. You have to know that there are good ones. So what do? You have to sieve them off, good ones from the bad ones. That is why you put measures in place. So you just put those measures in place, and whoever is able to fit that, you give them access. It's as simple as that. Just put the measures in place. That's all. And he actually apologized and then everything. Then he was like, they are going to check. It was one of the worst moments I've had here, apart from finding an accommodation, which I'm going to talk about soon. But having to open a bank account was one of the most challenging things I've experienced being an African in UAE. So, with that said, I think I came back home 2 days later. I got a text message, and this even makes me emotional. I got a text message that my bank account has been opened, and you guys should see the way I was jubilating. And after the jubilation, I was like, for a bank account, and in my country, like they are pressuring me open a bank account. I don't even want to open a bank account. And like something as simple as opening a, and it's my money. I was super excited for the fact that they finally like accepted to open the account for me. So that is one of the major challenges. And also, if you don't have, if you're, if you don't reach the threshold of salary that qualifies you for a bank account, then you can obviously not have a bank account in major banks. There are some other banks that open bank accounts easily for Africans and other nationalities, but I don't know. I don't trust them. I usually want to go with like the national banks in any country that I am. I want to go with the national banks of those countries. So or like a reputable bank, you know, so this is one of the major challenges you're going to face as an African in UAE, having to open a bank account. But it's not impossible. That's what I say. To me, right, what I always say to people is that if you know you have a genuine life here, things are going to be challenging, but it is not impossible. The next topic I want to talk about is housing, accommodation. Being an African here, you know, I say being from a third world country living in UAE is challenging itself, but there's always like degrees to the challenging. And I feel like Africans are like at the top of that. You know, Filipinos also face a lot of challenges here. Indians face a lot of challenges, but their challenges are like very minute. You know, for example, Filipinos, they don't face challenges with opening a bank account. They don't face challenges with accommodation. Maybe they don't even face challenges with finding a job because people want to hire them. Indians don't face challenges when it comes to accommodation. They own all the accommodations here. But when it comes to Africans, unless you want to live in an African community or in an African household, you may not necessarily face a challenge. But if you want to just be yourself because you're yourself, somebody like me, I don't necessarily want to live in an African household because I'm African. If I happen to like the place, that's it. And there are Africans there, it's okay. But I'm not like I need to be with Africans. I'm not that kind of person. I can live anywhere. I can live with any kind of person. I just want to live in a place that I like, a neighborhood that I like. So if you're somebody like me, then it's going to be super, super challenging. It's not going to be, it is super challenging to find an accommodation as an African outside of your African community. It's literally next to impossible. Okay. I used to live in Dubai before I moved to Sharjah when I found a job. So I was living in a hostel. It was a mixed hostel. We had some Africans. It was managed by Africans, but the owner was an Indian. Then you have a lot of other race coming there. So when I found a job in Sharjah, I wanted to move to Sharjah. I was searching online for accommodation, and they will specifically state there the kind of race that they want. Maybe if it's an Indian household, they will tell you they want Indians. If it's an Arab household, if it's Filipino, they will state there, we want this. I actually found one. The owner was super nice. He was an Indian. He took me to the place. He actually picked me up from my workplace, took me there, showed me around. So I got back to my hostel. I was packing up to move to this place. And then this guy called me back, like, he's sorry, the owner of the building doesn't want Africans. I was super devastated. Like, that was my very first real encounter with discrimination here and like real challenges. Uh, but I was like, okay, in all of this, I see it as I'm not meant to be there. You know, maybe it's my defense mechanism because I feel like it was too good to be true, even with the prize. So, and then I was super excited about it and all that. So when it happened, I cried actually that night. I cried because I'm like, this is not even the place I want to be. Like, I had this big apartment, I left it in Ghana, and I'm going to share a place with other people, and they don't even want me there. So I was like, okay, then I'm not supposed to be there, right? And then I moved on. And then I found this place that I didn't even struggle for. But what I did was the moment I contacted the owner, I was like, I'm an African. What's up? Like, is it going to be the same story? And then she was like, no, it's okay. Come on, like come. It's fine. Everything is fine. We are all the same people, the Quran teaches us not to discriminate and all that. So if you're African and you're planning to move to UAE, just put on your shield and your armor that this is the fight you're going to fight. This has a lot of challenges, but as I said, it's not impossible to overcome because it actually keeps you on your toes. It gives you some ideas. If you're somebody who is creative or whatever, because I got a business idea from all these challenges. The last thing I want to talk about is salaries as an African. This is hard, but you are probably not going to get the salary you deserve because you are African. I was told, one, because I'm African, secondly, because I'm new in the UAE. But I find that funny because what has me being new in the UAE got to do with my skills and my capabilities? But I understand it's different. I say it as it's different if you don't want to employ me because I'm new there and you cannot attest my CV and my work experience. You cannot really call these people to verify all the things I'm saying in my CV. That's understandable. Before I didn't understand it, but after thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I get their point. Because when you're in UAE and you have this work experience from like your previous place, it's easy to call and cross check and all that. But if it's a big organization, they are still going to call whoever they want to call from whichever country you said you've worked with. That is one challenge. And then the second was that I'm African. What has that got to do with anything? Like, what are the skills I need for this job? I have it. So why can't you pay me that amount? But they are going to pay somebody from a first world class What is a first class country? Like 6 times that amount to do probably less than what you would even do as an African. So if you're preparing to come to the UAE, as I said, just put on your shield or your armor and know that these are some of the fights that you would have to fight to find your place in the UAE. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video interesting, please like the video, share with your friends. If you have any questions about moving to the UAE, don't hesitate to comment. You can leave the question in the comment section. I will reach out to you. You can follow me on my Instagram also. Send me a DM. I will respond to all your questions. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed yet. See you in my next video. Take care and remember, life is short. You have to live your truth. Bye. People cannot wait for 2 minutes. See? Challenging, but not impossible. Mic drop.